Hello everyone, Jacob here. In the last lesson we talked about this structure right here, subject, verb, object with something past participle. And in Korean this means 뭐뭐 한 채로. Well, today we're going to talk about a very similar structure. We're going to talk about a very similar structure with a similar meaning. Subject, verb, object with something in, on, under 뭐뭐. So here, instead of putting a past participle, we're going to put a preposition, okay? And it has kind of the same meaning, 뭐뭐 한 채로, but in some cases it's actually translated a bit differently, and we're going to talk about that. But first, why or when do we use this structure? To describe the location, of something, to describe kind of where something is during an action, to describe the location of something during an action. In the last video, when we saw the with something past participle, we saw that it was to describe the state of something. Well, in this case, it's really to describe the location. When you're using a preposition here, it's to describe the location of something during an action. So let's go ahead and look at our first example. In France, it's rude to eat with your elbows. It's rude to eat with your elbows on the table. This is true. I grew up in France and it's considered rude, it's rude to eat with your elbows on the table. Okay, here what are we saying? Well, we're using this with your elbows on the table to describe the location of your elbows on the table while you are eating. Okay, so again, to describe the location of something during an action. And what would this mean in Korean? Well, there's actually kind of two ways that you could translate this. You could say 팔꿈치를 식탁 위에 올리고 먹는 것은 무례한 일입니다. Or you could use the 한 채로 translation, which would mean 팔꿈치를 식탁 위에 올린 채로 먹는 것은 무례한 일입니다. Alright, so you have those two options, I think, in Korean, but in English you have to use this structure right here with your elbows on the table, with something, preposition, 뭐뭐뭐. Okay, so let's go ahead and just look at a few examples. This isn't going to be a really long lesson, but I do want to kind of go through a few examples with you. It's nice to walk along the beach. It's nice to walk along the beach with your feet in the water. On a hot, nice summer day, it's really nice to go to the beach and walk along the beach with your feet in the water. Alright, this is a nice way to cool off during the summer, especially in Busan. You go down to Haeundae with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, is really nice. You just walk down the beach with your feet in the water. Oh, what a great day. Alright, so again, I'm describing the location of my feet. They are in the water while I am walking along the beach. Alright, let's look at another example. You should always drive with both hands on the wheel. You should always drive with both hands on the wheel. So again, with something, with both hands, preposition, on something. Okay, what is the wheel? 운전대, I think, is the translation. The thing that you turn while you are driving. Okay, that would be the wheel. And yes, you should always drive with both hands on the wheel. You can drive with one hand on the wheel, but it's a little bit dangerous, so you should drive with both hands on the wheel. Alright, let's look at one more example and then we'll wrap up this lesson. I often walk down the street. I often walk down the street with my arm around my girlfriend's shoulder. Okay, this is a common way for couples to walk down the street. Usually, the guy walks next to the girl with his arm around the girl's shoulder. Alright, so here I just wanted to show that you don't always have to use it with on or in, but you could use other prepositions. Here we're using around. Okay, and again, I'm describing the location of my arm, where my arm is, while I'm walking down the street. It's around my girlfriend's shoulder. Alright, so this is just another way to kind of use this structure kind of that we saw in the last lesson, but in this case we're using prepositions, not past participle, still kind of has the 한채로 meaning. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the lesson, I hope you understood, and I'll see you next time.